Hi, this is your host, Daniel Gutierrez. I'd like to welcome you to our call with today's guest, Dr. Michael R. Smith. Over 2 decades, Dr. Michael has touched the lives of hundreds of thousands of people all over the world as a healing practitioner, author, and spiritual medium. Michael specializes in helping empaths and highly sensitive people to recognize their empathic nature as a gift. He's the author of 3 spiritually oriented books, including the complete Empath Toolkit, and is featured in a documentary film called The Sacred Space, Searching for the Source. Michael has presented his sensitivity workshops internationally, including the renowned Omega Institute. Michael has interest and experiences in shamanism, mind-body energy medicine, and uses methods of indigenous healing in his coaching practice. He helps people all over the world to preserve and expand their energy, raise their vibration, and create more light in their lives. Today you will discover if you are an empath, a person exceptionally sensitive to the energy of others, learn the most effective way to enhance your intuition and connection to spirit, set proper boundaries with others so you're no longer drained or fatigued. Boy, I can't wait to hear that one. Discharge the negative energy you pick up from others by proper grounding techniques. Empower yourself with several simple but powerful affirmations, and experience using the heart area and heart chakra to dissolve unwanted emotional states. Michael, thank you for joining us, and welcome to the call.
I am so happy to be here, Daniel, and I love your energy, love your work, and I appreciate the invitation. And just a shout-out to you and a shout-out to everyone else on the call tonight.
Thank you, and I really appreciate that we're going to be talking about embracing our empathic and energetic sensitivity. I think, and we all have it to some degree, and I know we'll talk about that. But before we get rolling into this incredible interview today, could you take 2 or 3 minutes and share what you believe have been the major turning points that have allowed you to manifest your current level of success?
You bet. Growing up, being able to sense the energy and the emotions of other people led me down a path of becoming a counselor. And becoming a counselor and a professor of counseling led me down a path of realizing that that particular profession of psychotherapy and psychology in particular was missing something. I felt in that profession like, wait a minute, there's a big piece here that's missing. And what I learned over time was it was missing the spiritual connection and the connection to living from the heart. And so I made the decision to quit my job as a professor of counseling. I was teaching other people how to be counselors, and I sought out training in energy medicine down in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and started hanging out with some indigenous healers down there. And I learned that there was a reason why that I was sensitive, and I also learned that in some of the indigenous cultures, individuals like us, and there's many people on the line almost certainly who are going to be able to come to have a new understanding of themselves at the end of the call, that in those cultures, those individuals have a special role to play. And then, to make a long story short, 4 or 5 years ago, I made the decision that, okay, this is what I want to do. I want to work with spirit. I want to be a mentor to help people find their highest selves, and I just love doing it.
That's incredible. Now, you said something, Doctor, that I want to go back to and just very quickly touch on.
Call me Michael.
Okay, Michael. All right, Michael. I'll do that. Michael, talking about sensitivity, it's not a bad thing, is it?
Absolutely not. It's a gift that we are all given. And so the important point, even though we're talking about, my book is called The Complete Empath Toolkit. Let me break it down and make it easy for us to understand here for the benefit of our human minds. We are all, every single person on the planet is given gifts of abilities, really, to perceive energy. Now, we are waking up to the fact, cultures all over the world and people on the call tonight, no doubt, are waking up to the fact that everything in the universe is alive. Everything is moving. And of course, indigenous cultures knew this before quantum physics is now opening up doorways of perception for many of us and understanding that everything vibrates, everything moves. And so we all, whether you identify with the labels that we'll talk about in a moment of empath or highly sensitive person, you have an ability, just because you're human, to perceive energy, and that means perceiving the energy of other people in the form of emotions, thoughts, spiritual urges of other people. And we all have that ability.
Now, is that what, talking about empath, you brought that word up, and I don't even know if I know the definition of that. What is, for the audience, what is the definition of an empath?
Let me give you some of the traits of empaths, and this will make it easier for the people on the line. Yeah, you bet. So an empath is someone who gets other people. That's the short version. We intuitively can look at another person, and we just know what they're going through. We can sense their emotions, right? And that's a intuitive perception. Just we can get a quick read on people, right? Now, taking it a little bit further, because of the fact that we get other people, we can read them very well, we have tremendous compassion for other individuals, regardless of their situation in life. And this, I believe, stems from the fact that empaths are connected. We're here for a reason. We're connected to the divine, like all of us are, of course. And we believe, sometimes I hear this from my clients, like, I don't feel like I belong on earth. Kind of, right?
I resemble that remark.
Do you? Okay. So just like many of us, I'm sure, on the line would identify with that. That's one of the big ones. We feel like we're aliens on earth. Like, okay, wait, I feel more at home in the spiritual
I felt I was
realm.
an alien in my family.
Yeah?
Where did I come from, man?
Yeah.
Matter of fact, my mother would say, where do you get that stuff? I have no idea.
There you go. And you probably, again, like many of us on the line, are a good listener. Obviously, you wouldn't be doing this,
right?
The profession that you're in if you weren't. And obviously, me being a counselor, I'm a good listener. And so empaths tend to be very good listeners. And because of that, people are drawn to us. People love to pour out their stories to empaths and highly sensitive people, complete strangers. And oftentimes, this leaves us drained because people will just keep talking and talking and talking because there's something in our energy field that pulls the good, pulls the stories out of other people. And then just briefly, one of the other traits is we tend to be fairly emotional or in touch with our emotions pretty easily, and that takes a couple of forms. Number one, we're in touch with our tears pretty easily, tears being one of the best ways to cleanse energy. And then also we often will feel other people so deeply that I hear this from my clients all the time that, I just had this feeling that one of my relatives was having a problem, or I just started freaking out for no apparent reason. I just suddenly felt this wave of emotion come over me, and then only to find out later that my dad was going through something or my aunt was going through something traumatic at the time. That's a pretty common experience of empaths. And then finally, we're very sensitive to our surroundings. We don't like chaos. We don't like going out in malls. We like the energy.
Well, I feel like you're just describing me to a T.
There you go, right? So positive energy, nature, obviously, is what sensitive people love the most because the vibration of the earth is slower, calmer, more tranquil, and it helps us discharge all the stuff that we take in on a daily basis when we are out in public. And then because we go out in public and we take on, our energy fields are so open, we have a tendency to take on, through no fault of our own, there's no judgment there. It just, because we're light workers, so to speak, and from spirit, other people's lower vibratory emotions, thoughts, and feelings enter into our energy field, and then over time, that can build up in our energy field if we don't release it and take the form of energy-based syndromes such as chronic fatigue syndrome and lupus and fibromyalgia and all of these other things that Western science doesn't really understand.
It's very interesting about energy, and I want to talk about something in just a moment, but one of the things you said about chaos. I find large events after probably a few hours very difficult to deal with. Probably for that reason, is it picking up the energy. So do you think that maybe some people have the ability, but they don't know it, or even if they did know it, what to do with it? As I shared with you as a child, I didn't know what this was. I just knew that I was weird, because everybody else kept going, "You're weird." So what about that person who may not know or doesn't understand this really energy that they feel? Sure, there's plenty of people on the call right now that feel that way.
Yeah. So there's two things. Number one is becoming aware, being in your body. There was a quote I saw that summarizes it briefly. The most important journey that you'll ever take is from your head to your heart.
Yep.
Right? So for the people on the call that are identifying with this and maybe believing that like, oh, I don't like chaos, I'm taking on other people's stuff, the first step towards improving your life situation with that experience is to have an open heart and become aware of just when you are getting drained. Many of us have gone through life living in our heads, and of course that's one of the biggest, I call it the biggest addiction for sensitive people, is living in our heads. The first step is moving into your heart, and that's a physical process. It's not just a story or a metaphor. It's literally a physical process of opening the heart chakra. And if for those of you on the line, you may, like right now, I'd ask you just to drop your awareness into your heart, pretend that there's a valve there, and I want you to just open the valve. That's what a chakra is. And it lets in more energy. Now, on this call, I always like to call forth our divine intelligence, and it's already been, even though we haven't really mentioned it, I start all my classes and my coaching with this phrase, divine intelligence, let us have an experience for the highest good of all people involved. And that's happening right now. So for those of you on the line that may have had hurts or traumas or experience in your life, because this is what happens, the nervous system attempts to protect us by shutting down, closing the valve of the heart chakra, and then we move up into our heads, and of course then we're not using all of the wonderful spiritual resources that the divine has gifted us with. So the first step to deal with the chaos out there, and it may seem paradoxical, is to open the valve of your heart so that you can feel and perceive accurately when someone else's energy is infringing or interfering with your energy. And then there's another step that we can talk about later, which is then what do you do? Then it's about grounding to be able to discharge properly using the body. And this is explained in the special offer and in my book, The Toolkit, hundreds of methods that you can use to do that. We can do an exercise later on to help you to release the energy that you may have accumulated in all the chaos out in the world.
Yeah, so you brought up something that was interesting. So we definitely, okay, so we open up our heart, which is, you're right, paradoxical, because it's kind of like, okay, that's what I'm shutting down.
Right.
So that I don't feel everything, but you're saying feel. Okay, so how does one know the difference between what their emotions are and what they're taking on? How do they make that distinction?
Great question. Great question. And here's a very, very simple answer to that question. Ask yourself the question as you move through your day. And this is what I like to call the empath or the sensitive person's mantra. And that, here it is. What reason do I have to feel this way? So if you're walking through your day and you're realizing that you're a little bit frazzled or frustrated, and you may be thinking like, well, where is this coming from? Ask yourself the question, what reason do I have to feel this way? For sensitive people, oftentimes, and I would say as high as 85, 90%, if we were going to put a mathematical value on it to make it easier for the brain, that high of a percentage, the energy that you're perceiving or the emotions that you might be perceiving, it's not you. It's the people that you're sitting next to on the bus. It's, if you live in an apartment building, it's the person next to you in the apartment next to you. And we know that our energy fields extend roughly 20 to 25 feet in any given direction. So that means you may be perceiving at any given point in time the energy, your energy field is intermingling with the people above you, in the office building above you, in the office next door to you. And we're all waking up to the fact that we're all connected literally on a physical molecular level. An energy field is part of your physical body. It's just that you can't see it because that part of your physical body is like an airplane propeller. It vibrates so quickly, and the molecules are moving so fast, you just can't see it, just like an airplane propeller.
No, I love that. I just love that answer, and I love that. What reason do I have to feel this way?
Yes.
And so if the answer is there is no answer, then it's probably not your energy.
It's probably not yours. And if you're sensitive, you're going to find that you're going to be surprised how often the answer to that question is, I don't have any reason to feel this way. And then you can take your awareness deeper and go through a process that I like to use acronyms, makes it easier for the human brain to understand. So in my classes, I teach this concept called Sensitive People Are Open. And open is an acronym, and each letter of the word, the O, the P, the E, and the N, describe the 4 processes that all of us on the earth, whether you identify as a sensitive person or an empath or not, all of us on the earth are being asked to, I believe, in this times of spiritual change, to engage these 4 processes. And those processes are the following: observing, perceiving, experiencing, and noticing. OPEN. That means taking your level of awareness about the energy that is around you deeper. And that, if you engage those processes, observing, perceiving, experiencing, and noticing what's happening in your body, right, then you will begin to slowly over time understand that you can use those processes to tell if the person sitting next to you in the classroom that you're in, or the person in church that you're sitting next to, you'll over time you'll know without a shadow of a doubt, if you ask yourself the mantra, what reason do I have to feel this way? Like, why is there a pain in my left leg? I don't have any reason to have pain in my left leg. Maybe the person next to me is having a pain in their left leg.
Interesting. And you said that our energy, and I'm assuming you're talking about your heart energy, expands 25 feet, 25-foot radius, give or take. I don't know if that's scientific or not.
Approximately.
Okay, what about, is it possible that a person, because of their unawareness, is only projecting? I guess what I'm trying to get to is, can you tune this thing up to go out to 25 feet, or are some people just at 2?
Yeah, exactly. It's a great question. We all have energy fields, and some of us have much bigger energy fields than others. Now, if you're a light worker, if you consider yourself a light worker, a healer, if you've done a lot of work with consciousness raising and a lot of spiritual work, you will have most likely an energy field that is larger than someone who is just waking up, or someone who hasn't done a lot of ritualistic spiritual practices, okay? So that's a great point. Now, it's very easy to get lost. That's not a literal fact, right? That's not a scientific fact, because we really can't see, most of us, some of us can see auras and energy fields. Most of us can't, again, because of that reason that we're just vibrating at such a high rate. So here's the main point that gets to the heart of the question that you asked. We all, regardless of where we're at, regardless if we have a 3-foot energy field or a 25-foot, or just using this as an example, someone like the Buddha or someone like the Master Jesus, not using that in a religious sense, just from the fact that they were spiritual masters, their energy fields would extend towards infinity. Regardless of where you are, what you've inherently been gifted with, combined with what you've done throughout your life, you have an energy field of a certain size. Regardless of what size it is, we all, every human on the planet, has the ability to both extend our energy fields to make it larger, and we do that through vibrational raising practices, such as the activities that are included in the empath toolkit, such as the activities that you may be doing in your life, such as yoga, such as healing movement practices, such as getting body work. All of those activities, spiritual ceremonies, such as attending a meditation group, attending your church, all of those raise your vibration. They actually literally speed up the rate of vibration of your molecules, and that means that that's your protection, that's your buffer against lower vibratory energy that's out in the world. It protects you from experiencing and being hurt by other people's yucky energy.
So we can turn off this sensitivity?
You can't turn off the sensitivity.
Tone it down?
You can. I wouldn't necessarily recommend it, though. If you are identifying as a sensitive person and you're realizing that I'm feeling other people, that becomes one of the problems. See, it's paradoxical. You go through life, you feel all this other people's emotional pain, lower vibratory energy, and you, over time, the habitual response for many of us, not all of us, is to close the chakras down, to contract our energy field so that we don't perceive so much. What I do in the work that I do is the opposite of that. I ask you to expand your energy field, raise your vibration, like Buddha did, like Jesus did, like other spiritual masters, all spiritual masters do, and then you wouldn't be hurt. So closing down is actually, I believe, it harms us and leads to energy illnesses over time, because when you close yourself down, when you close the chakras, the energy that you pick up from other people, it can't get out. So we have to find a way to release the energy. That's the key. Instead of closing down, keep yourself open and then just let the energy blow through you like it would blow through a screen in a window. And it doesn't get stuck in you. We become what's known as a hollow bone or a hollow tube, and the energy will flow through you. So if you feel someone's negative emotions, it'll, like that, the higher vibration that you have as a person, the bigger your energy field, the quicker it'll leave you. And closing yourself down or closing the chakras would be contraindicated. It would probably be one of the worst things you could do.
Interesting. You talked just a few minutes ago about an exercise we could do when we were talking about sensitivity of energy and where it comes from. Mm-hmm. Would you be willing to share that with the audience?
You bet. So here's a great exercise, and this is included in the toolkit. So I work a lot with what's known as the vagus nerve. And if you think about when you go to bed at night, what happens when you dream? There's a process called rapid eye movement, and the eyes dart back and forth. So you may ask yourself the question, what's the reason the eyes dart back and forth? And surprisingly enough, science really doesn't have an answer for that. And yet the body does have an answer. There's a reason why the eyes move back and forth. There's something about the human nervous system that responds to left to right movement of both the eyes and, which we're going to do now, an exercise with the facial muscles and the jaw, which are connected to, and the eyes are connected to this as well, the vagus nerve. The vagus nerve runs from the facial muscles in the head down through the neck, down into the heart. So this is an exercise, which we will now do, which will help you open your heart and let go of a particular experience or emotion that you would like to change. So in counseling, there is a process called EMDR. Many of the listeners may have engaged in this process. It's called eye movement desensitization reprocessing. It's literally recreating rapid eye movement in a therapist's office, moving the eyes back and forth. So what we're going to do now is, instead of the eyes moving back and forth, I'm going to ask you to move your jaw back and forth. But before we do that, I want you to think of something that is mildly bothering you. So everyone on the line, think of something that maybe you've gone throughout your day, something happened today, something happened last week, a few days ago, that is unsettling you, it's mildly irritating you, mildly annoying you. Could be an interaction you had with a coworker or with a loved one, a friend, or even your children. See if you can conjure up something that, an emotional state that you don't feel too good about, that you'd like to release. You'd like to release that. And we're going to do it right now by engaging the vagus nerve. What I'd like you to do is conjure up, just temporarily, conjure up the feeling in your heart right now of that mild irritation, frustration, or annoyance. And I want you to imagine it as a gray ball about 2 feet in front of your heart chakra. Now, we're going to ask the divine wisdom of the body and the vagus nerve to dissolve that. I want you to move your lower jaw as far as it'll go to the left. Hold it and tense it for 3 seconds. Relax it and then move it as far as it'll go to the right. Do the same process. Hold it for 3 seconds and then move it back to the left. Now, this tends to be a fairly awkward process. Many of us have not moved our jaw in this way.
No.
So please know that if you're having a little difficulty with that, it's totally normal. Again, continue that process while simultaneously, and we're going to go take a few moments of silence here so everyone can really concentrate on this. Feel the energy changes in your heart and in your body as you do that. So move the jaw, whichever direction you're at, hold it, focusing on the feelings in your heart and how they're changing, and then move it back to the other direction. Hold it, and focus on the energy in your heart. Many of us will find that this modulates, it changes and transmutes and dissolves the energy that was there that you are asking to let go of. And again, it's somewhat mysterious, just like rapid eye movement is mysterious. Here's one other exercise to take it a little deeper, and this is can be done quickly. It's the same thing we're just working with. I want you to make a fake smile. Big fake smile. Pull the cheeks back, tense them. Fake smile. Engage your eyebrows. Tense your facial muscles for 3 seconds in a fake smile, and then relax. And then do it again. Hold it for 3 seconds and relax. And you will find, many of you on the line will find that this, if you're paying attention to your energy in your heart and your body, that this produces warmth. It may produce tingles. It may produce other sensations. And for most of us, those 2 exercises are just two examples of hundreds of unique exercises like that in our special offer here today that will help you to release unwanted emotional states.
That's great. I felt the tingling thing. I also, when we're doing the jaw thing, by the way, the thought in my mind came, facial yoga.
There you go. Uh-huh.
But you know, because you're right, I have not moved my jaw like that, and I have not smiled like that intensely. But I felt with the jaw movement, I felt the ball softening.
Uh-huh.
Softening, yeah, kind of dissipating in a sense,
uh-huh.
Turning from gray to lighter, and then with the facial thing, I felt the tingling.
Yeah,
so it's really cool.
Here's an important point about what you just did. I was actually feeling what you were feeling because I do this I work with so many clients, and I can feel my clients. Thank you for following along with that. Thank you to everyone on the line for following along and doing that, because what you just did is because we are all connected, and this is what we're waking up to in this spiritual shift, we're all connected. We're not separate. That's an illusion. Mm-hmm. Because of what you just did by moving your jaw and moving your face in that way and releasing that which you do not need, you made the experience better for everyone around you, your family members, So you just helped in that tiny little, what seemingly insignificant exercise. You changed the world.
That's amazing. That's exciting, and I'm sure that a lot of people got the same benefit out of if they followed along, even if they didn't. Right? I mean, the energy is energy.
Energy is energy. That's right.
So how does an empath? How does someone effectively enhance their intuition and connection to spirit? Because that's what we're talking about here. Yeah. I mean, is that connection to spirit. How do you do that? How do you make that stronger, more effective, more long lasting? It's got to be some tool, right?
Well, absolutely. There are hundreds of tools, infinite possibilities, really. The short answer to that is somewhat paradoxical. I love how the universe acts as a trickster sometimes. I used to think, and many of us may have this belief, I used to think that I told one of my spiritual teachers one time, I said, I want to enhance my intuition, and I feel like I have to go up into the upper chakras. I have to open my crown chakra, open my head, and just really hang out there and kind of hang out and float. I'm trying to go off into outer space and float out there. That's where my answers will come from. And he's like, no, no, no. And this is what I teach now, obviously. It's actually paradoxical in the sense that the more you go out of your body, the less your intuition will be. So you stay in your body. You use your body as a tool, your physical body as a tool of intuition and perception. So the degree to which you are grounded and to which you have chakras number 1, 2, 3, and 4 open and connected to the center of the earth. So everyone just imagine a big ball of energy in the center of the earth, give it a color, and the molten lava at the center of the earth, whatever color or that is for you. Imagine you're breathing that up through the bottom of your feet up into your heart right now. Breathe it up into your heart. And then notice how that makes you feel. That, you just activated your lower chakras, 1, 2, 3, and 4. That just enhanced your intuition. So the degree to which you're grounded and use your body and in touch with your body, that's the degree to which you will have intuitive perceptions, aha moments, grand spiritual experiences, visions. You have to be grounded to the earth in order to allow the energy to come down. I'm just using that metaphorically, come down from the heavens, so to speak, from the other side, whatever metaphor you use. You have to be grounded into the earth in order to allow the energy to come into your field for you to perceive it. Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely. Now, when you say spirit, do you mean God?
Whatever word, I'm not using it in religious sense, right?
Right, no, absolutely.
Right. So when I say spirit, you could interchange the word energy, a divine intelligence, great mystery, great creator, Father, Mother, God. Any of those words would apply. Some people have certain reactions to the word God. In my coaching work and in my classes, I always say, what's your word for spirit? What's your word for the divine? But and yes, the short answer to that question is yes.
So, okay, so here's a big one. And I'm after talking about how we actually, we've been talking about how we feel, how an empath takes in or doesn't take in energy, and we did a little exercise on releasing energy. What about boundaries? How do we set a boundary so that we're not in that position where we have to release it?
Absolutely, and there, again, here's another acronym that I teach in my classes and in my work. And the acronym is End with Love. END is the acronym, and the phrase that's attached to that is End with Love. So END describes 3 processes, 3 choices that we always have in any given situation. We can move towards something, which is to engage, which is the E. We can remain neutral, which is the N, and we can disengage or move away from something. What empaths tend to do, and sensitive people in general tend to do, spiritual people tend to do this, is we tend to over-engage. And when we over-engage, we get out of balance. On the spectrum of engagement, END, engagement at one end, neutral in the middle, and disengagement on the other end, many of us tend to do too much. We over-engage. So I ask you now to think about, those of you on the line, in your life, where are you doing too much? Each of us has a gut. It's otherwise known as, the scientific term is the enteric nervous system. And there are actually, to make a long story short, there are actually more nerves in the gut than there are in the brain. There's more resources there for you to use. So the gut, I teach, is a brain that we can use. So I'd like you to ask your gut right now, those of you on the line, gut, first of all, say hello to it, right? Pat it, say, I love you, gut. And now I'm going to ask you a question, right? And the question I want to ask you is, am I doing too much? Where am I doing too much? And the gut will always give you an answer to any question you want, not just that one, through feeling. It'll give you a feeling of expansiveness, which is a yes, or contraction, which is a no. Or if you listen long enough, something will just bubble up. And you'll know, if you're on the line right now, your gut will tell you, if you ask sincerely, where you're doing too much. So one helpful phrase that you can fill in the blanks to is, I will no longer blank, and then you're asked to fill in the blank, and yes, I will do this out of love for myself. I will no longer blank, and yes, I will do it out of love for myself. For many of us, we tend to over-engage with individuals, whether it be family or friends. We let them take our energy. We give too much of our energy because we're spiritual beings. Because we love, we're connected to that energy of love. We want to help. Mm-hmm. We like people. We want to help. We tend to over-engage. And so where boundaries comes in is we have to learn to say the word no to other people out of love for ourselves. Mm. And that's where much healing will begin, both for you and for the people that you might be over-engaging with or the activities you might be over-engaging with. We just have a tendency in the Western world to simply do too much. And so a great boundary is just learning how to say no, not out of fear, but out of the opposite of fear, which is love for ourselves, to keep our energy intact and ourselves sane. Again, paradox. I love how the universe does that.
So now this gut thing, I love that. Gut, am I doing too much? Mm-hmm. Can it be used the opposite direction to say, gut, am I doing enough?
Absolutely. Absolutely. The gut will give you, it's a brain. I like to call it a brain. The heart is also a brain. We have three centers of energy perception, primary ones. We have a brain, the human organ itself, up in the skull. We have a heart chakra, which is also a brain, and then we have a gut, which is also a brain. So I like to say we have three brains. We're kind of like, Frankensteinish in that sense that we have three brains, tongue-in-cheek, of course. Scientists, you may have heard this phrase, that scientists say that we only use 10% of our brain.
Yes.
Have you heard that phrase?
Yes.
Many of us on the line probably have heard that. What I like to do and what I teach is we only use 10% of our energetic resources.
Ooh,
and that includes the gut and the heart. They will always answer any question that you have on the line right now about what do I do with my career? Should I take this job? Should I go back to school? Should I get involved in this relationship? Right now, ask your gut. Say hello to it first. Say, I'm here. I want to ask a question. This is the question. And then feel the response that the gut will send up your body back to your brain. So you're making a connection between your gut and your brain. The messages that originate from the gut and move up to the brain outnumber, and this is scientific fact, outnumber the messages that move from the brain down by 10 to 1. The gut is an enormously powerful center of energy perception. It is a brain, and we only now need to utilize it, say hello to it, acknowledge it, and honor it, because that's what it wants. It's there for us to use, all of us, whether you believe you're a sensitive person or an empath or not. And that's what we teach in the special offer.
And isn't it amazing, too, Michael, I was just thinking while you were talking that our gut and heart, which is, as you said, and a resource, an energy resource, a brain, is the two things that we ignore the most.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, because I had a gut feeling not to do that, but I did it anyway.
That's right.
Right? Or my heart said no, but my brain said yes.
Yeah.
It's really interesting. I love that. So if we checked in, being empaths, those of you that are, everybody is, and checked in with all of the resources that we have for intuitive knowledge, we'd be better off. That's beautiful. I mean, I've never heard that before. I think it's awesome. Thank you for that.
Absolutely. It's very powerful when we make the decision, and it has to come from an intention, has to be intentional. When you on the line make an intention to honor your all of your resources of your body, which include your gut and your heart, and when you start living your daily life from those places and place your awareness there instead of just your head, it's amazing what you will manifest in your life.
I love that. Well, it's amazing. I could probably talk to you for hours and hours and hours because this is a subject that I'm very interested in and very, very much a part of, the whole empath And I've had to come to terms with that myself, coming from a corporate background. I was, an empath was not exactly what I ever looked at, or even though I used that information, those tools in my business world, I didn't know I was doing it. I mean, but I was very keen to business deals and what somebody might be thinking. And people used to call me a great strategist. They said, you always predict that next person's move. I said, I already knew. So you have an exercise that I'd love for you to share with us, and it's called karate chopping. What does that mean, and what is it?
Well, it's similar to what we just did, or similar to what we did earlier with the vagus nerve exercise. So again, it's a simple exercise. It only takes a minute. And if you do this type of an exercise once a day for the next month, your life will be radically different 30 days from now if you practice this every day. This is what we're all being asked. Our highest selves are asking us to do exercises like this. So the karate chopping exercise is, again, think of that experience that you'd like to let go of, something that might be unsettled in your life, something that's bothering you. If you can, think of something different this time. If something bubbles up for you, that's a different emotion, a different experience. Imagine it as a gray ball of energy in front of your heart chakra, because in reality, if you could see your energy field in your aura, that's what it looks like. So then what you do is, I'm going to ask you to just simply clap 3 times, and I'm going to do this right here just so you can hear it, and then I'm going to ask you to do it. Okay, so clap 3 times, and while you clap, your intention is to dissolve and karate chop that ball of gray lower vibratory energy, that emotion that you want to get rid of, or that feeling that's not helping you. You're going to smash it into smithereens, and you're going to dissolve it, and you're going to do it by clapping it into smithereens. So 1, 2, 3, and with each clap, make it precise. Your intention is you're going to visualize it dissolving. And so do that now. Okay? And then notice how you feel, those of you on the line. You may want to do it more than 3 times. You may want to do it for up to 60 seconds. It's ideally the most 60 seconds, maybe 90 seconds of intense clapping. And I guarantee you will feel lighter, and you may even feel dizzy if you do it that long. So those of you on the line, you may already be experiencing a change in your heart, how you feel, simply with just a few claps. The scientific explanation for that, the best that I can describe what just happened, was threefold. First of all, the sound waves that are produced by the act of clapping break up the energy. So the waves of sound are moving, and that gets energy to move. That's number 1. Number 2 is you paired an intention with a physical act. That is known as psychokinesis. Psycho is mind, kinetic is motion, mind over motion or mind over matter. You made a connection between your mind and your heart there. And so you paired a physical act with a mental intention. The physical act alone, just the moving of the sound waves, would have been enough to make you feel better. When you add an intention, you are what you think, right?
Yep.
You are what you think. So when you pair a thought, that's what you become. So you're asking yourself to be lighter. It happens. And then the third explanation for just that simple act of clapping is, if you think about cultures worldwide, why do we clap? When we want to shower someone with the gift of raising our vibration and expressing how good we feel about a performance, in Western culture, we use our hands, we clap. In other cultures, some of the Eastern cultures, Islamic cultures, they stomp their feet. There's a reason why we stomp our feet and why we clap. And it's because my theory is that it's opening the energy meridians in the hands and in the feet. And it's like it's a form of reflexology. So you're opening the energy meridians of the hands and the feet, and it allows the whole body to be open. So just that simple act of clapping, those are the 3 explanations that I can come up with. You may come up with, those of you online may come up with more for why you feel so different and so much lighter.
I love that. There was something definitely connected to the physical decimating of the circle, the gray ball in front of us. I wanted to jump up and kick it too. Do the karate chop with a kick.
That's right. I love that.
Yeah, I could. I'm kind of visual, so I was also seeing and hearing that song "Kung Fu Fighting."
There you go.
I know. Okay, I'm a little crazy. That's all right.
I love it.
Well, so listen, Michael, I'm curious. For the people that are listening right now, I know you've worked with thousands and thousands of people. Could you kind of share maybe a couple of success stories of some of the people that have applied what you teach?
You bet. I keep a file in my email, and I put all of I hear great things from my clients and the people that have used the system, and I don't tend to look at it very often, but once in a while, I'm human. I get that
vibrational lift.
That lift, exactly. So I'm so grateful for the people that write in and thank me for the work that I do, because occasionally it's like, is this work really making an impact? So that's what I've done here, and I'll just read a few of these that I pulled up today for that reason. Mary says, it takes a great deal to blow me away after a lifetime of complicated experiences, but your material has. We have another testimonial here from Adele. I can't put into words the difference all this information has made in my life. I feel as though I've been reborn, and it's amazing how much more connected I feel and how much I've rediscovered my true self in such a short space of time. Shanna has said, I highly recommend the Complete Empath Toolkit to those of you who wonder why you're always being told that you're too sensitive. I highly recommend anything Michael is a part of. He and his work has changed my life. And then we have Vic, who says, I've had a 180-degree shift after listening to Michael's audio tapes and reading the Empath Toolkit. I'm experiencing life-changing results that have and are occurring using his energy techniques. I have more energy, more focus, and more peace. So those are just some experiences that people have had after putting these techniques and this material to use in their lives.
And I could see how that could be so, because, so many of us clearly probably get that we have something special, but we don't get how to use it and protect ourselves. It's really more about protecting ourselves so that we are able to use these gifts when we need to, instead of being worn out. I think the worst kind of fatigue is energy fatigue.
Yeah.
Because it really takes, and you said something earlier that was, when I asked you about the, can we turn it off, that then what we're doing is creating illness because there's nowhere for it to go. So I really appreciated that. And I know there's a lot we can learn from you, Michael, and I really appreciate that you created an opportunity for us to get to work with you a little bit more. And for everyone that's listening on the call, I want to highly encourage you to go to this website and see what Michael's put together for us. Simply click on the special offer button that's on this page. What you put together for us, Michael?
The package is called the Complete Empath Toolkit, and I want to emphasize that, again, whether you identify as an empath or a sensitive person or not, the material and all of the material in this package is our universal spiritual truths that apply to every person on the planet. So in the package, we have 3 ebooks that I've written. One of those is the 250-page Complete Empath Toolkit, and then we've got 2 other books that I've written. So 550 pages of written material. That's the first thing. Then we have over 10 hours of audio instruction and audio seminars that I've done, giving specific techniques and even more exercises than what we've done here on the line here today. And we've got a few special classes, one class on relationships, and sensitive people tend to attract narcissistic personalities. And so we have a class on why that is and how you can overcome that. We got a class on overcoming addictions, including the addiction, the standard one, substance abuse, and then very common addiction that all of us do is overthinking. So we have a class on that, and then we have a class on shamanism, which is working with your animal guides, animal spirits, working with the earth energies for understanding, promoting intuition and healing. So we've got all those 10 hours of audio. Plus, I feel very important that I'd like to give you an opportunity to have a little bit of personal mentoring. So you get that opportunity as well with everyone who purchases this here tonight will be able to join me on just an exclusive teleseminar where you can ask, follow-up on any questions that might have been sparked by today's discussion. And finally, 10% of your purchase goes to our Empath Connection Scholarship Program. The scholarship program goes to fund, this year we funded 5 individuals to receive training in using heart-centered skills in their careers. So that's what the training that I do, and please know that 10% of your purchase will go directly towards helping 5, 6, 7 individuals next year receive education and training.
That's amazing. That's, giving back, that's part of the whole cycle of reciprocity in our world. Michael, what are some of the benefits that some of these folks will experience either right now or over time for applying these incredible programs that you have or listening to your audios?
Well, first of all, you're going to understand yourself better. Things are going to make sense. You're going to most likely have an aha experience. When you put these techniques into daily practice, you're going to feel lighter. You're going to feel much more empowered. You're going to be able to learn to set boundaries so that others will not drain you in all of your relationships. And you're going to be able to do that with confidence. And you're going to gain trust in your intuitive abilities, your spiritual abilities. You'll learn, there's an exercise called the spiritual alphabet, which teaches you how to trust the messages that the gut gives and the messages that spirit may give you on a daily basis. And you put those to the test, you're just going to be literally a different person. You're going to be reborn.
How exciting is that? And I just really appreciate you being the light worker for the light workers because, it's needed. It's very much needed. Burnout is very easy in this medium.
Yes.
And it's just because we love. It's not anything else, but we love, and we need to protect that so that we're more effective. Michael, any final thoughts before we leave?
Just now is the time. Now is the time for all of us to be all that we were born to be. We have a birthright, all of us, and it's your task, whatever you choose to do, to take actions, whatever actions you take actions to discover who you really, really are while you're here on this earth in a body. And I just wish you all the best in your journey along the road in doing that.
Well, folks, there you go. Please, I encourage you very heavily, those of you that have really been touched by his message and his willingness to really support those of you out there that are doing the great work of light workers. And it doesn't have to be light workers or empaths, folks, if you're just sensitive. This is for everybody. We've talked a lot about empaths, but I want to make sure this is for all of you. So click on the special offer button that's on this page. Thank you so very much for being with us today, Michael. I appreciate you, and I look forward to our next call together.
It has been a true joy, and thank you everyone on the line for joining us this evening, and thank you, Daniel, for the work you do. It's been wonderful.
Thank you. You're welcome.